Hi, I'm Antonio Redondo. Welcome to Channel 5 News. Here we have two lacrosse players. Could you guys introduce yourselves? Tell me what school you go to, your position, your school year, and how long you've played.
Okay, my name's Aaron Cromer. I go to Canby High School. I'm a sophomore. I've played for 6 years. I am a midfielder. Is that it, or is there more stuff?
No, that's it.
Hi, I'm Jacob Huggins. I am also a sophomore. This is my 5th year of playing lacrosse, and I play defense.
You forgot what school you went to.
Canby High School.
Okay, so what are all the positions that are in lacrosse?
There's an attack, there's a midi, which is a midfielder, there's a defender, and there's a goalie.
So are there 3 of each, 4 of each? How many are there?
There's 3 attack, 3 midfielders, 3 defenders, and 1 goalie.
Okay, and are they left, right, middle, or is there some other configuration?
That's how they start out. But the attack kind of stay that way, and then the midfielders and defenders, they just get jumbled around.
Okay, so we're gonna take a look at a picture of that. What? Never mind.
I have some technical difficulties.
Okay, a picture of the field. Here, where would the players be on this field?
So the attack would be right there. The midfielders to start out with would be right there. The defenders start out would be right there, and the goalie would be right there.
Okay, so Jacob, how does a game start usually, or after a goal?
So, it always starts off with a face-off. So, like what Aaron said, all the middies start in the middle. And so there's 2 at the X of the field, and the ref will put the ball down, and then there's 2 middies right on the X have to fight for it. Then the 2 from the lines on the sides have to run in and help them out. And once you get the ball, the ref will yell possession, then all oppositions can start running around the field.
So can you just go willy-nilly around the field, or do you have to stay in a certain area?
Well, the attackmen, have to have 3 attackmen on one side of the field and 4 defenders or any players on the other side.
Okay, so like the offense, do they have to stay in a certain area, or can they just go on back and forth between the field?
They have like their own half. Like you have the defense on the right side and then the offense on the left side.
And the middies, can they go in between where?
The middies do both offense and defense. And there's like a certain midi that can go on just to play defense, and then there's a midi that just plays attack or face-offs.
Okay, so substitutions, is it just like free-flowing, or is there a specific time for it?
No, well, it's free flowing. So generally, you want to sub when the game isn't going on, but so like what Jacob's saying with the LSM, that's a long stick midi. They use this kind of stick. They'll go on to play defense, and what happens usually is when the offense doesn't score, and the other team's clearing the ball, one offensive midi will run off, and then that team's LSM will run on, and he'll be a defensive-minded midi. He can take the ball to the offensive side if he wants to, but usually he just tries to pass it to a short stick and then runs off.
Okay, so Jacob, you're an LSM, right?
I am a defender, but I can play LSM.
Okay, you can play LSM. What are some advantages to having a longer stick?
Well, the longer stick, as you can tell, is like way longer than the average stick. It just helps you keep people in front of you better, has more wide range, and if you get beat, because some of these guys are really fast, like Aaron here, so it helps me catch up with them, and if they try to get away, I can catch them with the stick, so it's very nice.
Okay, so Aaron, this is the goal right here, I'm assuming. What's the
Yeah.
circle around it?
So that's called the crease, and if an offensive player steps in the crease, it's a change of possession, and if a defender steps in the crease, there's nothing happens. They can just go in there whenever they want. But basically, it's there to stop the offense from just sitting right in front of the goal and just shooting. I mean, they can shoot from right there, which still isn't very far away, but it's further away. And I've seen goalies make some incredible saves right on crease.
Okay, so if the ball goes out of bounds, is it like soccer or basketball where the team that touch it last doesn't get it and the other team gets it, or is there a different way?
If it's a pass, yes. So if I pass to Jacob and he drops it and it goes out of bounds,
I do that a lot.
then and it's the other team's ball. But say I shoot it and it goes out of bounds, but my team's closer to it, we get the ball.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at some of the equipment here. Could you just give us an overview of what that is?
Yeah, so this is like what you standardly see on a lacrosse player. You have the helmet, which protect the head, the shoulder pads, which protects the shoulders and kind of the chest area, the elbow pads, which protect the elbows, the gloves, which protect the hands, your stick, which right here is used to carry the ball, and some people play with rib pads, but most people don't. They just get in the way.
Okay, so is there anything else that like you can wear, or is this it? Is there like a cup?
Well, you're required to wear a cup. I know people that don't, and that's kind of foolish. Because there's stories, you know, of all, like when people don't wear safety equipment, there's always going to be stories. But there's a couple involving some gruesome injuries with people that don't wear cups.
Okay, so how hard does it hurt when the ball hits you?
Well, the average shot, Jacob knows better than me on defense, but the average
It
shot,
hurts. A lot.
so say the average shot comes for high school probably around in between 70 and 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's just like a standard shot. People have gone up to 100 for high school, probably 105. So it hurts. Like it's a solid ball, so it hurts to be hit by it.
Wow, that is impressive. So this stick right here, is there a certain way that the net has to be, or can you just have it anyway?
So what has to happen is, this is a good example because
Thank you.
it's strings. You can kind of see these right here. These are called shooting strings, and they aren't in a U or a V pattern. They're kind of just straight across, which is what, with the new rules, you can't have any U or V strings. So this is perfect because it's just straight across. So it's legal.
What would happen if you had an illegal thing? Would you just be taken out or warned? Or
Well, first the rest would have to catch it, and if they did, then it'd be a penalty. I'm pretty sure it's 3 minutes unreleasable, isn't it?
I think so.
And the stick wouldn't be used for the rest of the game, and your team would be penalized for it with a 3-minute unreleasable penalty.
Okay, so you said there was unreleasable penalty. Is that like a penalty box, or what is it?
So when you get a penalty, you go to the penalty box, and when unreleasable penalty is versus a releasable, if the other team scores, which is a regular penalty that's releasable, then you're on the field. But with an unreleasable penalty, if the other team scores, you're still in the box.
Okay, so what are some of the unreleasable penalties?
Unnecessary roughness. Well, it depends on the severity, but like a severe unnecessary roughness, illegal stick. Any penalty can be unreleasable if it's bad enough.
Okay, so Jacob, what are some of the other penalties then?
Well, the most common penalty you'll find is a slash, which is basically defender's favorite penalty to get. We hit another player on the head with their stick or like more than 90-degree check. And those are very common. There's also holding, which is I always have my stick on the guy so he can't go anywhere and I don't move it at all. There is also push in the back, which is just pushing in the back. And there's all sorts of kinds.
Okay, so you said 90-degree check. What exactly is a check?
Just a different technique of hitting someone.
So can you show me what a check is?
So there are
It's probably better, yeah.
there are multiple kinds. So we got the poke check, which is just the sliding of the stick throughout my hands to hit the stick.
Effective,
You
I
don't
see.
need that anyways.
Very effective.
We also have the slap check, which is just this. And coaches always get on us. It always has to be like 6 inches or so for a good one, because you can't just wind up like that. That would be a slash.
Some people still do it though.
Brandon Teets. There's also the lift check, where I just try to lift his stick so the ball will fall out. And there are other crazy checks you can do, like there's the rusty gate. I don't do that one because it's hard. And then there's just trying to keep the guy in front of him. Most defenders, you're supposed to go for the stick or hands, but some defenders just go for all body.
Yeah, like there'll be defenders who, so I say I'm creating them like this, and I have my free arm up like this. They'll just start wailing on my arm.
I don't do that. I'm a nice guy.
Well, I've seen you do that, so.
Okay, Aaron, are there any other basic and common fouls, or is that it basically?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of fouls. Like lacrosse is very unique in that, say for basketball, there's only like 3 types of fouls, like a shooting foul or something like that. But for lacrosse, there's a bunch of them, and usually you'll hear fouls being called like a slash. That's kind of like a catch-all for like a huge check or something like that. But there's probably 20 I can name on the top of my head.
So is there a foul which will result in a penalty shot, or how often does that happen?
No, that never happens.
Never happens. How is there? Is there a penalty shot?
No.
No, there is not. Okay, I was wrong.
You're crazy.
Thank you.
My name is Patrick Verdun. This is my third year at the helm for the Canby Lacrosse program, and I've been playing about 8 years.
My name is Aaron Cromer. I've been playing about 6 years.
I am Jacob Huggets, and I've been playing for 5 years.
Okay, so how long have you been a coach?
How long have I been coaching? I coached a little bit when I graduated from Southern Oregon University. I stayed there and helped my head coach, Mark Brown, there with the team, just here and there with drills and games, things like that. But my first real coaching experience came up when I moved back up here to Portland and went to an interview for Canby Lacrosse, and I wanted to be an assistant to begin with, but they decided it'd be a good idea to just give me the keys to the city right at the get-go, and so I took them, and this is my third season now here at Canby, so about 3.5 years, I'd say, is my overall coaching experience.
So have you and your team played any games yet this year?
Yes, we just got back from the Boise Lacrosse Invitational. Brings together teams from Nevada, Utah, California, Oregon. Really good competition every year, and so we got paired up. Our first game was against the #1 team in Montana. They handled us pretty good. That's definitely a learning experience because most of the teams we play have already played 5 or 6 games, whereas we haven't even played a single game together yet. We've had 3 weeks of practice, including 1 week just being tryouts. So it's always a big learning experience for us, always opens our eyes up and exposes our weakness and lets us know what we need to work on for a league.
Based off what you saw in Boise, what would you say your team has to improve on?
Fundamentals. Definitely fundamentals. Just passing and catching and working together as a team.
Okay, how is the offense looking in your opinion so far?
So far, like I said, we're still trying to work as a cohesive unit. Right now there's kind of a lot of one-on-one play, so guys trying to do a little bit too much. But that just comes with us playing games together and being put in that situation, knowing we can trust one another out in the field.
So when you played lacrosse in college, what position did you play?
I played midfield.
Midfield. That's what. Do either of you play midfield? You play midfield sometimes, right?
I play midfield.
I will say.
I knew that. Okay.
You honestly didn't.
And anything to work on defense also besides the basics?
Yeah, defense communication is key. And so when there's a lack of communication on defense, you have breakdowns, and when somebody gets beat, it exposes us, exposes the offense, the other team to our cage, gives them a look at our goalie. So without communication, the guys don't know when they need to pick up somebody else's man. So kind of like in basketball, if you get beat by the guy you're guarding, you got to be able to communicate for your teammate to pick up that guy, to pick up your defense for you. So similar in lacrosse, if somebody gets beat, in a one-on-one situation, we communicate and we have what's called slide packages, so guys know where they need to be to help cover for one another in case we get beat anywhere on the field.
Okay, so what exactly are those slide packages? Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different kind of slide packages. That's a good question. So 2 we have would be an adjacent slide package and a crease slide package. So adjacent simply means if me and Aaron are playing defense and he gets beat and I'm the guy closest to him on the left, I'm going to be that adjacent slide on his left side. And Jacob would be his adjacent slide on the right side. So if he got beat, I would have his left. If he gets beat on the right side, Jacob would have his right. Whereas if we're playing a crease slide package, it would be as if they have a player right down in front of our cage and we would have a defender on him. And that defender would be the one who would pick up the coverage.
Okay, what would you say about this year's senior group compared to last year's senior group?
This year's senior group compared to last year's senior group. Last year we lost a ton of our leading scorers. 2 of our starting attackmen, some of our strong middies. But there's definitely room for this year's senior class to step in and pick up the leadership role and pick up some of the responsibilities left over by those guys.
Okay, so I'm supposed to put up the field right now.
Ooh, that's
Some crazy person's been yelling at me for a while, but. So is there, the offense you guys run, how exactly does that work? Is there a certain.
Well, it's just based kind of on the system you're trying to run. A lot of programs do run a lot of set plays. A lot just run kind of a free-flowing offense, which I love about lacrosse, and I believe in the free-flowing form of the game. Pretty much there's just a set rotation for where players need to be. A common saying I have on the field is if you're standing still, you're doing it wrong. So ideally we want a guy, I was wondering, is this a touch screen?
No, it's
No?
not.
Okay.
I wish.
It's not, yes. So if say, okay, Aaron's got the ball and say we're attacking this cage right here. If Aaron has the ball here, we kind of have a basic rotation for everybody else that if he's dodging down this side of the field, okay, another common saying is if somebody's coming at you with the ball, your teammate's coming at you with the ball, you need to clear out. So we have our basic offensive set is we have our attackmen, 3 attackmen and 3 middies, and they're working in 2 triangles. So we would have a midi, and a midi, and then we have an attackman, and another attackman right there. So these 3 would make a triangle, okay, and then these 3 would make a triangle up top. So they're working together, rotating. So as the triangle, as this guy from up top dodges down here, the other guys rotate in, follow him, and then these attackmen rotate that way. So the 2 triangles are always constantly rotating. So we have guys running off ball, so they don't have the ball in their stick. They're running off ball, they're trying to get open, but they're also pulling their defenders out of the play. Because like I said before with slide packages, if somebody gets beat, you got to know where you're at. And it's hard for the defense to do that and cover everybody if everyone's moving.
Okay, so is that somewhat like a motion offense then for basketball? Could you compare that?
Yeah, everyone has kind of a basic fundamental motion, but it's, like I said, it's very free form. As long as you're moving twice as hard without the ball as you have the ball, then good things are going to happen out there.
Do you guys have any questions?
No.
Would you rather have the triangle offense that you did, or would you rather have the 1-4-1 offense you gave us?
Based on the situation, I think it's always good to have more than one option.
That's true.
Because if we're playing a really athletic team and we're just not going to get any looks out of that one-on-one isolation, then power can give us some looks on the inside and seeing if we can expose some weaknesses there on the crease.
Okay. All right.
And the crease is, of course, being the area around the cage, which only the goalie can go into or the defensive men on that side of the field.
So when you guys are home, where do you guys play your games?
All of our games are played at the Canby High School Stadium, turf field.
So who's all in your league?
So we compete in the Three Rivers League, and that consists of Westland, Lake Ridge, Lake Oswego, Clackamas, Oregon City, and Canby.
So that's a different league than both basketball and football?
Yeah, so lacrosse is not an OSAA sanctioned sport yet. It's well on the way. It's close. It appears that it's going to be happening in the near future. But right now it's just club level, so our leagues work out a little differently than other sports.
Would you say that your league is the toughest league?
Absolutely. Westland has won the state title the last 2 years. Before them, Lake Ridge won it. And they've always been in top-tier competitors. And Lake Oswego and Clackamas have always been very competitive. Oregon City's kind of had a tough run in our league. But every team is very good and very competitive.
So how do playoffs work then?
So playoff work that the top 2 teams from each league, so Three Rivers, I don't know the name of the other ones, but off the top of my head. So Three Rivers, the top 2 would go, the top 2 teams from every other league would go, and then there's 8 at-large bids. So there's a whole ranking system called Lax Power, which ranks your team based on goal differential and your wins and losses, things like that. So a lot of math involved, so I try to stay away. But so the top 2 teams, and then those 8 at-large bids go to teams who weren't in the top 2 in their league, but they still had a very competitive record, and so they bump them into the state playoff bracket. If you fall short of that, which we have, we've just been on the bubble the last 2 seasons, you get to compete in what is called the Cascade Cup. And the Cascade Cup takes, I think, the 16 next ranked teams, and then they get to compete for a separate title, essentially.
That is very confusing.
Yes, it is. It's only been in place the last 2 seasons, so it's still kind of new. But it's a great way to kind of extend your season. So because unfortunately in some of the leagues there are new teams that are competing against really established programs. So when they just get smashed in league and they have no chance to go to playoffs, their season just kind of ends abruptly every season. So the league wanted to kind of extend lacrosse seasons for a lot of teams and give them another opportunity and something of value to compete for. And the Cascade Cup does exactly that. It's very fun to be in, even though we wish we made state playoffs. We still look at it as an opportunity to keep growing as a team. And you're competing, for a title, the Cascade Cup. So every game is do or die, and it puts a lot of pressure on everybody and kind of builds up the intensity and excitement.
And what would you say about the youth program for up-and-coming lacrosse players?
Youth programs are key. You're starting to see programs at the high school level that probably haven't been very successful, but now with so much more emphasis on their youth programs and growing that and establishing that, these programs are starting to rise up to the top with the same level of these well-established programs like Westland and Lake Ridge. So establishing your youth program is key to long-term success. So we're starting to see players coming up the ranks just with better stick skills and just better knowledge of the game, simply just because they've been exposed to it at an earlier age, have been able to grow those skills all the way up till they get to high school.
And for someone who wants to start playing lacrosse, how should they start?
Right away, and with a stick and a ball.
Wall ball's key.
Wall ball. So yeah, I mean, for a basic intro to the game, when I learned, actually, I didn't play in high school. I was a big baseball guy. So that's just saying it's never too late. I went to college in Southern Oregon, and they didn't have baseball, so I wanted to go out for a sport, and I just saw some kids carrying some funky-looking sticks like these. And so the very first thing, I went to first team meeting, and they got me outfitted with some equipment. There's some more stuff that comes with it besides just a stick, of course. But basically all you need to start learning the game is a stick and a ball.
Okay, so what exactly is wall ball? I heard Jacob say that one.
So wall ball, from the highest level to the lowest level of lacrosse, every player plays wall ball to develop their game because stick skills are number one. Stick skills are key when it comes to lacrosse. If you can't pass and catch, can't play. You're not doing it right. So wall ball is just having a ball in your stick, of course. And I'm not going to bounce that off this wall. But it would be simply just, it's like playing catch with yourself. Okay, it'd be like playing baseball, but you don't have a partner and you're constantly getting reps. So you're working on both hands, developing both hands and your eye-hand coordination and just catching that ball in and out of your stick. And it sounds kind of silly and mundane, but it's one of the most important skills and training you can utilize your whole lacrosse career. So when I say pros, all the way down to the lowest level, they are still playing wall ball as much as they can, usually every day.
Are there any other drills that somebody could do at home to help?
Yeah, I mean, you can practice everything. Some of the greatest in the game, the Powell brothers, they're big names in lacrosse. And they, at their camps, I work with them in the summer, in their camps they just constantly stress always having the stick in your hands. And it becomes an extension of your body. So these guys talk about their childhood, just always playing in the backyard and always coming up with crazy tricks. They've kind of revolutionized the game with some of the skills they've come up with. But they always talk about how they would be watching TV and just, practicing switching hands with their stick and getting comfortable with it. So just as long as you get that stick in your hands, you're going to be getting better.
Do you have anything to say about just the history of lacrosse game in general for people who don't know?
The history of lacrosse, yeah, it's actually a Native American game, started by Native Americans. A much different version of the game we play today that we've kind of adapted. But essentially, back in the day, tribes used to, settle disputes playing giant lacrosse games that were miles long and with hundreds of players, and they didn't have the safety equipment we had, so it was somewhat hazardous at that point. But yeah, just a great game. It's often referred to as the creator's game, the medicine game. There's a lot of really cool history to go with the game of lacrosse and kind of spirituality.
So what time do you guys usually play your games?
We usually play at 7:30 p.m. at Canby, and our schedule is online at the OHSLA website, Oregon High School Lacrosse Association website. and the Canby Youth Lacrosse website. 'Cause sometimes we do play at different times when we are away.
So make sure when there's a home game, that you come support Canby Lacrosse.